Hey guys, so today I'm gonna do a little rant. Lately I've been getting kind of some comments about how negative some of my content has been on both my channels, and it's just, I like to, I don't know, talk about things that maybe are a little bit more negative sometimes. I mean, that's the balance of life. I like to rant a little bit. Who doesn't like a good rant every now and again? Especially when it has something to do like with this topic I'm going to talk about today. It's just an opinion that I have that I wanted to share and like open up the conversation for all of us to have in the comments. So, but with that being said, it is just my opinion. Obviously nothing I say in this video is a fact, much like all the comments I get. None of them are facts, they're just opinions. Well, some of them are facts, I guess, if you're talking about like statistics. So naturally, as a movie review channel, I get a lot of comments from people who disagree with my opinions, and that is great. I actually encourage it on my channel because I love it when my viewership is diverse and dynamic. It makes for an interesting comment section, and it often opens the conversation we can discuss, you know? I love talking about movies with people, especially when they have a different opinion from me, because it's cool that we can discuss our own opinions and just like talk about it, you know, respectfully. Not everyone's respectful. Of course, I can't expect everyone to have the same mindset of different opinions are interesting. Some people think that just different opinions mean that you're wrong. So before we get into some of the examples of the comments that I get on a regular basis, let's just thank our sponsor today, Shudder. Shudder is a horror thriller suspense streaming service that offers so many original movies, classic movies, TV shows, like literally you name it, they got it on there. They even have like a live TV streaming thing if you want to experiment and try something new. They often have a lot of different genres airing at the same time, so you can take your pick. Also, all of it's ad-free. Some of my favorites on there currently right now are The Awakening, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, of course. Old Boy and Pulse are also some of my favorites that are on there right now if you want a couple foreign films. Of course, if you go to the link down in the description, shudder.com, and use my code POSSESS30, you will get 30 days for free. And then after that, the subscription's around $5.99 a month. So it's super affordable, and they have so many different genres under the horror umbrella, so you're bound to find something that you like. So back to the topic of your taste in movies suck, right? So this is a comment I get all the time. A lot of people disagree with me. I knew when I made a horror channel, I was going to have a unique horror opinion, and that's mostly because I haven't seen some old classics, which I think is fine. Sorry, my neighbors are being so loud right now. We're just gonna go with that and ignore it. There's a lot of times where I feel really self-conscious about being a horror fan or considering myself a horror fan because I haven't seen some movies that people think are classics, and I maybe like a decade of horror that is seen as generally bad by the large population of the horror community. And so a lot of times I feel like imposter syndrome with this channel because I feel like, who am I to sit here and talk about movies as if I'm an expert on them, right? That's not a fair assumption to make about myself because I obviously like horror, and I may have my own genres that I like within the horror spectrum, and I may like certain movies that are seen as bad, but that doesn't mean that I'm not a horror fan, and that doesn't mean you're not a horror fan. If you don't like movies that a large part of the horror community love, who cares? I think it's okay to like what we like. That doesn't make us any more or less of a horror fan. Sure, there's probably a spectrum of like being a horror fan. There are probably people who decorate their house all with horror memorabilia and stuff like that, and I don't have that, but that doesn't mean I am any less of a horror fan. This is honestly something that I've dealt with in a different way, and that is wearing band tees, right? There's this gatekeeping community in the metal community of, well, you probably don't listen to that band or whatever. You know, I've done a whole video on being a woman who wears band tees because I've actually, in this shirt, been questioned in a Walmart parking lot by a male saying, what's your favorite Slipknot song or album or whatever it was. I shouldn't have to prove anything to complete strangers, right? So it's kind of the similar thing of being in the horror community. There is a certain level of gatekeeping that happens in my comment section of, well, you like that movie, you're clearly not a real horror fan, or you don't like that movie, not a horror fan. And it's like, how do you, what? It doesn't make any sense to me to discredit me as a channel and as a person with opinions just because I like a movie that you don't like. That doesn't, you know, one opinion is not the right opinion. Just because you like a movie and I don't, or vice versa, does not make either one of us wrong. There is no wrong opinion when it comes to the horror community, you know? That's the beauty of it. It is all subjective. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of horror movies out there, so we are all bound to like different things. And that's awesome, the fact we have this variety and this diversity in the horror community. And we all get to pick and choose what we like about the horror community, you know? There's not one set of movies that you have to watch and love in order to fit in the category of a horror fan. So I made a video, best horror movies on Netflix right now. That was recent, and people had an issue with it. First of all, I want to apologize. A lot of those movies are not on Netflix anymore. I did at the end of June or at the end of May, and they like reset their horror selection in June, so that video's probably pointless now, which is really annoying because it was a recent video. Anyway, people had a huge issue. Oh my god, I thought my mic wasn't on. People had a huge issue that I put M. Night Shyamalan's The Village on that list. This one says, The Village making the list discredits the whole list for me. Me liking one movie means that you can't trust any of my opinion anymore, which, you know, there is a little truth behind that, and I'll explain. I feel like if I say that The Ring is the scariest movie I've ever seen, you know then what my scares are, like what scares me. You know, home invasion films and doll movies do nothing for me. So obviously if those are movies that scare you, we're gonna have different opinions, and then maybe, yeah, you can't trust all of my opinions on certain movies. But to say that just because I like The Village discredits the whole list, and that means every movie I put on that list is bad. Another one says, lost absolutely all credibility when you put The Village on this list. Same comment, same energy. The fact that I could lose credibility just because I do like The Village, which I also want to acknowledge that I got a lot of comments saying thank you for putting The Village on this list because a lot of people don't like it and I really do. So I'm glad to hear that someone else likes The Village. You know, we all have different opinions. It's okay. We all like different things. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. Thumbs up this video if you like The Village, but don't dislike it if you don't. Actually do. Engagement works, you know, no matter what kind it is. So this one's a little bit more respectful. They didn't have to leave a comment about it. They could have just, you know, clicked off the video and left, but that goes for any hate comment that I get. These aren't like hate comments, but you know what I mean. That goes for any negative comment that I get. The moment I heard The Village was one of her faves, I know she was not the reviewer for me. So I respect that. You know, again, me saying I like a movie will give you a little perspective into what movies I do like, but that doesn't, The Village does not define my whole movie taste, right? It doesn't define my whole favorite movie selection. So I could recommend some really good gems to you guys, and because I said I like The Village, you're gonna ignore all of that and not be open to me having a different opinion than yours and maybe hearing me out in my other favorite movies, right? And then this comment says, I don't agree in your taste in movies at all. There's far better horror movies out there. And that is the summary of all the comments. That's just like all of the comments piled into one, that just because my taste in horror movies is not yours does not mean there are better movies out there. That's your opinion. You like different movies and think that they're better than the movies I like. Good for you. I don't know why that means inherently and obviously that I am wrong then in all of my opinions. People leave these comments as if they're fact and not their opinion, and that is what bothers me. And you know, I am guilty of this too. I often say things a lot, but I always preface my videos with, this is my opinion, or at least I try to when it's a rant video kind of like this one. It's obviously my opinion. It's my video, it's my channel, so obviously anything I say in my videos is going to be my opinion. But to say flatly that there are better movies out there, cool, name a couple then. Recommend them to me. Tell me what they are. Tell me what your favorite movies are, and let it be a conversation and be constructive. Again, it's the internet. Not everyone's going to be respectful. That is an unrealistic expectation of people on the internet, and I understand that. I just don't like this kind of gatekeeping when it comes to a specific genre. That goes for movies and for music. I can't tell you the amount of times being a woman that likes horror and metal, that just really doesn't sit well with some men, and it's really annoying. Or it goes the opposite direction and then I'm over-sexualized because I like what they like and I'm a woman, and that gets old too. So I don't want this to like be about gender or anything like that, because these comments are not. Some of the comments are left by women, so it's not a gender thing. I just wanted to point out that it is tough in this community, but that's beside the point. That is a separate kind of topic. I don't want this to become about that. It is more about just the kind of gatekeeping of the horror genre in general, and that if you like that movie, then you aren't a horror fan, and blah blah blah. And all that being said, if you want an unpopular horror opinions video, please let me know. I saw Emma over at Spooky Astronauts do it, and I would love to do one as well, because apparently liking The Village, that's a very unpopular opinion right there. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about this, if you've experienced this yourself in the real world or online or anything like that. Just being a horror fan, how have you dealt with other people kind of telling you what you can and can't enjoy as a horror fan? Please let me know your experiences down in the comments. I hope you, what is my hair? I was just ending the video too. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.